Hello everyone, this is Coloring with Haley, and welcome back to another Color and Chat. Today we are going to color out of the Dark Fantasy Special by Coloring Heaven. This is the issue 57, and it's Inés Aguero, I think is how you pronounce the artist's name. We are going to do number 20, Moon Babe. My partner Doug asked if he could pick out the picture that I colored, and this is what he wanted to pick. He said she looks like Sailor Moon, which I agree with. I'm going to use a Copic marker on her skin, because I like using Copic markers on Inés girls. So, let me get my swatch chart here real quick and pick a color. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. We are going to use powder pink. I don't have too many Copics. I have maybe 20, and they're all in this big bag here. So, let me move this bag to the floor so I have a little bit more room. We'll use a variety of alcohol markers on this, and I know that I want to put some glitter on the moon on her forehead. Maybe the moon in the background too, I'm not sure yet. It is Monday. I usually film a little later in the week, but I have, well, I've basically finished the first half of this semester of college. I have to give one last final speech in my speech class, but otherwise I am done. So that means I'm done with my economics class and my speech class. I wrote a 7-page paper over the weekend for my economics class, and that wasn't exactly fun. It was a little bit difficult to stretch the paper out to 7 pages, because I think with economics there's only so much you can talk about, but I managed to get it done. So that means I am going to be starting a literature class, but I have a 2-week break before the literature class starts. And I'm excited to have a 2-week break with nothing to do. Hopefully I can get a bunch of videos filmed. I have an order from Amazon coming in sometime soon. I ordered, I think, 7 or 8 books with the rest of my birthday money. Of course hang on, Finn. I'm up here, buddy. Come here. You see me? Hi. Sorry, the dog gets lonely sometimes. I ordered, I think, 7 or 8 books. And I can't wait for those to come in. I'm going to be coloring in those a lot, and hopefully I'll get some flip-throughs filmed, because I ordered some unique books, too, that I hadn't seen before. Of course, I ordered Deborah's new books, but I ordered some stuff that, I hadn't seen before on YouTube or anything. So I took a chance. Let's very carefully do her eyelids like that. There we go. Okay. Let's do these too. Alright, there we go. I'm probably gonna do her with like yellow hair, just like how Sailor Moon has yellow hair. It's not really blonde, it's like bright yellow. My literature class, we were given the books that we would need for class early, so we can go ahead and get them ordered. And we are actually reading a graphic novel rather than an actual novel, which I'm excited about. I do love comic books and graphic novels. This one is titled, I believe it's A Contract with God. I've never heard of it, but it looked interesting. So I'm excited to try that out. I think that there are a lot of graphic novels that are really, really good and would make excellent books for literature classes to analyze. So I'm excited to get to analyze this graphic novel. Plus, they're just easier to read than some novels. I was really worried that it was going to be, I don't know, something like Flowers for Algernon. We had to read part of that book way back in middle school, and that book was really hard to read. I find that I don't like a lot of what's considered classic literature, like Jane Austen and like John Steinbeck. Just not my thing. I like to read horror novels, crime novels, thrillers, that type of thing. Hang on, my frogs are croaking downstairs. I don't know if you could hear that. I don't know what they're croaking at because it is the middle of the day and they are nocturnal. Okay, well, they've stopped now. Don't know what they were croaking at. We will probably use some white Posca paint on this lace here. But back to what I was saying, I don't really like classic novels. I've never have. I used to read a lot more than I do now. I probably have 200 books in storage, and none of them are classic novels. It's just not what I prefer to read. Just personally. So I'm glad that we're not reading, you know, something like that. This is the first literature class I've taken. I don't know if my college requires more than one or not. I didn't really ask. But it'll still be online, not in person. I took this whole semester online. And I'll still have my stats class. The semester is 16 weeks, so most classes are 8 weeks. There's a couple classes that are 16 weeks, but my stats class is a little bit odd. It's 12 weeks, so I'll have a little bit of statistics to do as well, but I can usually sit down and get that done in a day if I try hard enough. We've gotten to a point now in statistics. Hang on, I gotta clear my throat. Okay. Where we are mostly using calculators now. It's like beyond what you could do. I don't know what color I'm gonna make her top. I didn't really think that out too much. So, man, I still cannot clear my throat. For my birthday on Friday, we went out looking for snakes and frogs. I know that is like how only I would want to spend my birthday, but that is what we did. And I had a good time. We, unfortunately, didn't really see anything because it was too cold out. We went to Illinois. And when we got there in Illinois, it was very, very overcast and cloudy, so it was a little bit too cold out. But we still had fun, hiking around. So it wasn't bad at all. If you can see words behind her, it's because I'm using a magazine page as my blotter. So that's why you're kind of seeing words. And I gotta pull the magazine page down just a second. Okay. They won't show up once the ink is dry. I'm gonna do this Band-Aid in blue because I am gonna kind of inspire her. My Sailor Moon. There we go. I think I finally cleared my throat that time. So, yeah, we're gonna do her in blue. And yeah, you can kind of see the magazine page, but when the ink is dry, you can't see it. So, I like using the cover pages off magazines as blotter pages because we get a lot of junk magazines in all the time. And the cover pages will make really good blotter pages because they're thicker than, you know, the pages on the inside. So you can just use one cover page and you can reuse them over and over again. So you're kind of seeing the design show through, but once it's dry, you won't be able to see anything. But yeah, I had a good birthday, I would say. And then this weekend we wrote that essay. I did not want to do it on my birthday. I was like, I refuse to write the 7-page essay on my birthday. I don't want to. I'm gonna have a good day on my birthday. And yeah, I think it worked out. The economics class, it was boring, I guess. I don't know, it was, economics is not really my thing. I mean, it's a class that I think everyone, you know, should take. That's why college is required. It's important that you understand the economy and how it works and how money works and everything, but it was still just a very boring class. I don't know. You know, our book was pretty boring, it's pretty straightforward. And the work was kind of boring and straightforward. It was just boring, yeah. I didn't really like the speech class much better, though, just because the speech class was a lot of work, like a lot of busy work. Giving the speeches was a little awkward. I don't know if I would have liked it. You know, I said I'm happy they're not taking it in person, because I don't think I'd be able to speak in front of a room of people. But I may have liked it better in person, because it was a little bit awkward talking to the screen. Talking to the screen made me want to kind of fidget and move around a little more. And we're not supposed to move around, we're supposed to be still. So, you know, we get points cut for that, but it's hard to be still when there's, like, nothing around. I don't know, when you're talking to the screen. It's different than talking now, because I'm doing something, you know, I'm focused on this, and I'm not looking at the camera. It'd be a little bit weird to look at the camera. And it's also really hard to maintain eye contact with the camera. I think, it'd be easier in class where you're actually looking at other students and you can maintain eye contact with them. It was hard to maintain it with the camera. So I'm going to pick out her hair color. And I think we're going to do 45, which is Canaria Yellow. This is my new set of Ohuhus I got for my birthday, and I did a swatch on the channel. So you can watch that if you want to. I like them a lot. I think I like them better than the Cali Art markers, personally. I like the tip. The tip on these markers is a little bit finer. And that's what I like about them. This is a good color for her hair. It goes down to the bottom of the page a little bit. I don't know, when it doesn't go down to the bottom of the page, like her arm over here, I just kind of cut it off, because I don't know, you know, I don't know how to take it down too far. It looks a little bit weird to me if there's not lines there and you take it down a little too far. So we're going to kind of do the same thing with her hair over here. We're just going to cut it off. All of my critters are doing good. That reminds me, later in the month there is going to be a big reptile expo, and I'm going to go to it. I'm either going to buy a VIP pass so that I'm there super early before anyone else is let in, or I'm going to have a personal shopper go buy my stuff for me because I don't want to get sick. I'm surprised the city is, you know, letting events carry on like that, but they are. And there's a few things that I really need. So yeah, I'm either going to go super early and do a VIP so that I'm there before anyone else is, or I'm going to have someone shop for me. because they always do like a live walkthrough of the show and you can see all the vendors and stuff, so I can have someone inside do my shopping for me and bring it out to the vehicle if I want. They need bugs and other food, mainly, but I always end up coming home with a few goodies as well, usually for the critters. So I'm sure that I will buy a few goodies. If anyone would be interested, I might do a haul video of what I bought. It would be a short little video because, you know, I don't have too much that I need to buy. But I just show you what it's like buying stuff for reptiles, going to the little expos. I don't need to come home with a new critter by any means. I'm good. But, do need food and some other things. I'll probably buy Kimchi, my little possum, some more stuff. He likes all kinds of little, hideaways and things that he can hide in, little nests, things like that. And there are usually several different ladies there selling homemade little nests and pouches and stuff for sugar gliders, and Kimchi likes those a lot. He's not a sugar glider, but he likes them. There's also a lady there that sells toys for sugar gliders. They're like little dangly toys that you can clip on the side of an enclosure. They kind of look like bird toys, you know, like dangly wooden blocks with chimes on them and stuff, and he likes those too. So who knows, I may come home with a couple things. I've been planning on going to this expo for like months now because they announced them, you know, at the beginning of the year, and I plan around which ones I need to go to, which ones I can skip based on my feeding schedule for the animals. You know, I can kind of figure out how many bugs and how many mice I need to come home with, how long they're going to last, and then when I would need to go back. Unfortunately, for the beginning of most of this year, there weren't any expos at all, but they are starting to come back now. And this was one that I was going to go to anyways, because it is the Halloween Expo. They always do one right around Halloween, and everyone dresses up in costume for it, and it's just fun. It's fun to dress up in costume and hang out with all the other people and buy stuff. But again, I don't know, I may have a personal shopper, and I may do the VIP to get in early. I don't know which one I'm going to do yet. Either way, I know I'm still going to be going and buying stuff. It might be my last big coloring book haul for a while because I don't get to do them too often. Usually, most of my money goes towards, well, my animals, obviously. But, you know, for my birthday, I got a few gifts, and once you reach a certain age, people either don't give you birthday gifts or they just give you money to use on adult things like rent and food, and I had some money left over that I wanted to use on coloring books. So when I get the haul in at the end of this month, yeah, it might be my last haul for a while because I have to go buy stuff for my animals. And then I know for Christmas what I am going to try to get. I told my parents, because they ask me every year super early, what do you want for Christmas? And I told them to just help me pool together the money for the new PlayStation 5, because I do play video games a lot, and I've always had consoles rather than playing video games on my computer. I just have a little laptop for school. So I told them that is what I want to try to pool money together for. So I'm already saving up for that too. And then coupled with this reptile show coming up, it'll probably be my last like big haul for the year. I'm sure I'll buy more coloring books now and then in between. You know, I might see something at Walmart too. It'll probably be my last grand haul where I buy like 8 books at a time. Okay. She's kind of got a wisp of hair here, so I'm just gonna... There we go. Alright, this is looking pretty good. This is looking a lot like Sailor Moon to me. I still don't know what color I'm gonna do her shirt. I might do it in like an off-white color, but I'm not certain. But yeah, let me know if you would like to see a little haul with what I bought at the reptile show. Some fun things that I'm excited to look for, like new products that have come out for reptiles that I'm excited to look for and try out. I always think trying out new products with the critters is super fun. I don't know why, I just think it's really, really fun. I know that there was a big pet expo in Nashville this weekend, and I heard it went really well and that they raised a lot of money for charity. And because that's another thing, we always, at the pet expos, raise money for charity. There's always a big auction where different breeders donate animals to be auctioned off, and the money goes to various animal-related charities in the area, so like various humane societies and stuff. And some of the money goes to the U.S. ARC, that is the United States Association of Reptile Keepers. And it is a group of people that go around and try to make sure that it continues to be legal to own reptiles in the United States. I'm sure some of you don't know about it, because it's kind of a, I mean, you wouldn't know about it unless you had reptiles type thing, you know what I mean? But a lot of states try to ban the ownership of snakes and big lizards and turtles and stuff like that. And so the U.S. ARC goes around and lobbies in like the government buildings and stuff and argues with them and tries to get them to allow individuals to continue to keep their reptiles. Because a lot of states kind of see owning an animal like Bucky as the same as keeping a tiger, when it's not. It's very different. You know, Bucky's not at all a dangerous animal. He's a lizard. I mean, a lot of you would probably consider him a big lizard at 2 feet. I wouldn't, because I know there's lizards that reach like 6 feet. I would say Bucky's like a medium-sized lizard, but even then, he's still not dangerous. I mean, he eats dog food and bananas mostly. He's harmless. And I mean, you know, he's got a nice big enclosure he can't get out of, but even if he could get out, here in the United States, you know, unless it was somewhere like Florida, he wouldn't survive the winter, and it's not like he's going to crawl into someone's bed and bite them or anything. So the group goes around and, yeah, they kind of present arguments to try to allow reptile ownership to continue to exist. So, you know, we donate to them too. And I read that the auction that they did in Nashville raised like $4,000, so that's cool. That's really good. I think the U.S. ARC has been hurting this year because events like this, you know, weren't allowed to go on for so long. And they were really missing out on the money that was usually raised from these auctions. I think some people tried to do online auctions, but they just didn't go over well because a lot of websites don't allow you to sell animals online. You know, like, you can't do that on Facebook anymore either. And I know that hurts some friends who have a rescue. Because if you have a rescue and you require, like, a rescue fee on any of your animals, you know, you require, like, a $5 rescue fee or whatever, Facebook still counts that as selling an animal. So if you have a pound or whatever that's not free, you can't advertise it on Facebook anymore. So I know that hurt a lot of people too. So you know, I don't know. I think I teeter in between it's a bad idea because, you know, certain events are still happening in the world. But at the same time, I know there's a lot of people that this is their only way that they get money because this is their entire career. So I don't know. I'll at least be buying stuff from my vehicle because, like I said, I gotta have some stuff. Gotta get some more bugs that I can't get anywhere else. You know, I can get like crickets and stuff around here, but there's certain bugs that I don't know, I guess maybe you'd call them like specialty bugs, things that like bait shops and such don't sell, that are good to feed. And then I gotta get some more frozen mice for the snakes and the possum, because he does eat frozen mice too. It's good for him. And yes, that is what snakes eat. If you're ever wondering how people that keep snakes feed them, you buy frozen mice. And they do sell those at pet stores. Like, I could go to Petco and get some right now. But it's cheaper to buy them at these expos because people will sell them in bulk. And, you know, I can buy one package that will last me several months. And it's just a lot cheaper to do that. So yes, I do have mice in my freezer. It is a little bit weird. For a long time, I didn't want to keep snakes for that reason. But eventually, I just kind of warmed up to the idea and got over it. I don't know if there was an event that particularly made me change my mind, or if I just kind of was like, eh, you get over it, you know. I'm going to do her lips in a skin tone-ish color. I think maybe this fruit pink here. Here it is. Yes, you just eventually get over things. And you're like, oh, well, it's normal. Or, well, it's normal for me. And, you know, they only eat once a week. One of them eats once every other week, so. Oh, I forgot to do her eyebrows. Let's do those real quick. I know some of you probably think that's weird, but it's okay. And there's also people selling mice as pets, too. Don't worry, there's a lot of people that keep mice and rats as pets. They're very well taken care of before they become food. There we go. I don't remember what eye color Sailor Moon has, so I'm going to look that up really quickly because I don't remember. Let's see. Okay, she has blue eyes. I knocked my light. Okay, so let's do, let's see. I'm gonna do, I think, 67 for her eyes and then 71 for the bandage. So here is 71 right here. And 67. 67. There it is. I was about to say I can't find it. I'm going to do a little bit of glitter on her eyelids, so that's why I left that blank. There we go. And here is 71 for the Band-Aid. So yeah, October is going to be a nice month because I get that break. And then, you know, even if I don't go in the reptile show, it's still going to be fun to drive up there and buy all kinds of goodies for the critters. I might do an update video on them soon if anyone's interested in seeing that too. So, reptiles and amphibians do something called brumation. It's very similar to hibernating. Basically, they go down for several months and they don't come back up. They may come out in the wild on like a very, very warm day to bask in the sun, but usually they stay down for a while. And I know my animals are like in a room and I control the climate in there and everything, but they do go down for brumation, or at least some of them do. I guess there's just some kind of internal clock that tells them, hey, it's getting close to winter time. We might use one of my Cali art markers on her shirt. So they do know, or at least some of them do, For example, pretty much all of the frogs, except for the tree frogs, will bury down, and I won't see them for several months. They may come out and get in their water bowl one day, you know, but they'll refuse food. They don't want to eat during this time at all. So that's why I need to pick up some food. I make sure that everyone gets fed before they decide to go down and hide for a couple of months. Bucky kind of teeters on brewmating. He doesn't usually bury down, but he'll really slow down on eating. And then the salamanders, they bury, and I don't even see my big salamander come up and go for a swim. He usually buries for like 3 months, and then he just comes back up around March when it's starting to get warmer, and I don't see him for that time. I know he's okay. I know he's healthy. I know he's doing what he needs to do. So I might do a little update video before they all go down, so you guys can see how they're doing and how much bigger a couple of the little ones have gotten. And some of my tarantulas have gotten bigger because they molted. They won't go away or anything for the winter. They'll just continue to sit there. I mean, that's kind of all they do. Tarantulas just sit there, really. I don't ever see them digging because they do it at night. So I never see them, you know, webbing the big enclosure like they do. During the day, they sort of just sit there. So the tree frogs are the only ones that'll stay out. But they are a species from Australia, and I guess it doesn't get cold enough in Australia in the winter that they want to go down. I don't know. Bucky's from Australia too, so it makes sense that it doesn't get cold enough that they want to completely brewmate. They'll slow down a little bit, but not bury or anything. Unlike my large frogs, which will just go away for a while. The snakes slow down on eating a little bit. They don't really bury either, though. As for like my little geckos that cling onto the side of their enclosure, nothing changes for them. They stay the same. The little leopard geckos, they don't really go hibernate either. So a few of the animals do, a few of them don't. Some of them will be there to look at through the winter, some of them won't. So I was thinking about getting an update video in, though, before they decided to go off like that. It would just kind of be a shorter update video. Kimchi will not hibernate either. I don't know being a Brazilian animal if he would naturally or not either. That's a good question, kind of. But in my care, I know that he will not. He will stay awake for the winter time. We're going to pull this down just a little bit to make sure. Get it to the edge here. There we go. So yeah, I was thinking about doing another little tour where I just show you how some of the critters are doing, because my bullfrog's gotten bigger. And like I said, some of the tarantulas have gotten bigger. My little tiny gecko has gotten bigger. Kimchi has gotten a lot bigger. It's almost time for him to go into the nice big metal enclosure I bought. He was too small to go into it. He could slip out between the bars. So that's why he was in that plastic bin. I would like to get him moved into the nicer enclosure. And I'm thinking about keeping that enclosure in my living room. At least during the spring and summer when it's warmer. When it's colder out, I'll probably keep him in the reptile room, because that room stays so much warmer than the rest of the house, just to make sure that everyone stays warm. And being a species from Brazil, he does kind of need to be in a range of about 80 degrees. And even in the winter, oh gosh, I could not have the whole house be 80 degrees like the main living room where we stay most of the time. I would die. That is too hot for me. I'm very hot-blooded, so I prefer the cold. It stays about 70 in the house, even in the winter. The reptile room is probably about 80 or 85. You can feel the difference when you walk in there. It's just because of all the heat lights that are on all the animals, and then I close all the vents in there too so that none of the cool air reaches them or anything. So I keep it toasty in there for everyone. So I'll probably keep him in there through the winter and then move him as it starts to warm up a little bit, because a lot of the time in spring and summer we will just have the windows open and the doors open. The dog's good about staying in the house. He knows, you know, if we're in the house, he should be in the house too, because not that he would run off or anything outside. He knows to stay in the yard. I'm just worried about someone driving by and like trying to steal him. I don't know about you guys, but we've had problems with that in this area in the past. People stealing dogs. So I taught him to stay in the house if we're in the house. If we're outside, he can be outside, but if the door's open and everyone's in the house, he needs to stay in the house where I can see him so he does not get stolen. Because I would be absolutely devastated if something happened to him. And, you know, sometimes little farm critters wander into the house, little chickens, little goats. And as long as they are well behaved, I am okay with it. We have wood floors and tile floors down there, so that makes it easy to clean up any accidents. Little donkeys and little ponies sometimes come in. They usually come in to the kitchen area, sniff around, and then go back outside. Especially in the spring and summer, because we let them out into the yard. It's a lot harder to steal a miniature donkey than it is a dog, because, you know, you can kind of just put the dog in your back seat, but the donkey is like 150 pounds, and you'd have a lot of trouble lifting him up into the back seat of your car, I think. He probably wouldn't fit into most vehicles. And he stays in the yard, so we can reliably leave them out in the yard, whereas I couldn't with the dog. But yeah, I think the possum would like to be in the living room in the spring when we are more active and, you know, all the windows are open and gets a nice natural sunlight if he wants to. Okay, we are almost done with the coloring of this, and then we're going to do the glitter and stuff. I think this turned out to be kind of a nice color for her top. I wasn't really sure about it. It's an off-white color. I think it looks good. I definitely want to do glitter for the moon on her forehead. Maybe the moon in the back, too. But we are going to do the paint first on the lace. I haven't gotten my issue of Coloring Heaven for this month in yet. I think it's zodiac signs, and it's got a couple different artists in it. I think it looks interesting. So I'm excited to see that, too. Okay. Now we're going to get out our Posca paint pen, which mine are in this little package here. I got these at an art store, a local art store, but it does have the brand on here. They are Blue Q bags. They're made out of 95% recycled material, so they kind of have a paper feel to them, but they're good for holding some of my supplies like this. Okay. Let me shake up my pen. And hopefully not shake the camera or something. Don't want to make you dizzy. Alright. So I'm just going to go over the lace that's here on the outside. And we might have to go over it twice. Just depends how it dries. Sometimes the first time through this really eats up the black lines. Sometimes you gotta go over it twice. Just depends kind of on how dark the lines are. And the lines on this are not super dark, so we'll see. Okay. We may not have to go over that. It's looking like it's gonna dry pretty good. I am going to let that side dry just a little bit before I try to do the other side, because knowing me, I will set my hand in it. So I'm going to get out the sparkle pop pins that I'm going to use real quick. I'm going to use blue and orange. I'm going to do the moon orange. I would use gold, but my gold is running out, and I just don't think there's enough gold left in it to do the moon in the background. So we'll wait for that to dry for a second. We got a lot done in this video. We talked about a lot. I mean, you know, September was kind of a boring month for me. Not too much happened because I was just busy with homework. I didn't really get to do much. Too busy with homework. And yes, the magazine cover does have Pokemon on it, if you can see that. There wasn't too much to talk about in September. Hopefully there'll be more to talk about in October with the free time we have. That is probably dry now. It only takes a couple of minutes. I'm gonna just lightly touch it. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Hopefully my color-in chats for October will be a little bit more interesting. With less work to do, I can have more free time to do other things. 3 classes was a little bit much for one semester, for the first half, I mean. I usually do 4 classes in a semester, 2 and 2, but this time I did 5 classes, so it happened to be 3 and 2 because the statistics class has a longer date than the rest of them. And doing 3 in the first 8 weeks was a little bit difficult. It was a lot of work, more than I'm used to, and I think partly because the public speaking class is just a lot of work as well. More work than I'm used to doing for a college course, at least. It felt more like a high school or middle school course where you had, you know, a lot of work to do every day. Okay, I think that looks good, and now we'll do the moon. Because that was kind of how my public speaking class went. I had to do something almost every day in the class because, like I said, I don't know, there's just a lot of busy work, a lot of little, like, worksheets and stuff that we had to do and turn in, which, you know, they can teach the class however they want to. It just felt like I was back in middle school or something with all the little worksheets we did. You know, it's their course. They can teach it however they want to. If they think that that helps us, then, you know, who am I to say it doesn't? It was just a lot of work. In the economics class, we only had 4 each week, thankfully. And 3 of them were tests, and then one of them was a big discussion that we participated in. So at least we didn't have too much to do. And then statistics varies week by week. I think this week I've got 7 lessons to do in statistics. Sometimes it's 4. It depends on how hard the material is, usually. Given that this week, I'm going to turn this to color it. So I'm going to turn it a little bit weird so we can work on the moon. Given that this week I have 6 or 7 things to do in statistics, I'm sure it's an easier lesson, and that's all I've got to do, which I'll probably do that tonight and be done with it and have the rest of the week off to spend however I want. We may go back and look for snakes again, I don't know. We were outside the whole time. We didn't come across any other people, but we still wore masks the whole time. Well, okay. I shouldn't say we didn't come across any other people. We came across like 2 other people that were out there, but they said they hadn't seen anything either. I like to go out there and do like photography. You know, I've got a nice camera that was gifted to me that has a really long lens on it, so you can stand 5 or 6 feet away from something and take a picture that looks like you're standing right on top of it, you know what I mean? So I like to go out there and do all kinds of photography with the snakes and frogs and stuff, but it was just too cold. The weather in Missouri is kind of crazy. We always have a saying that if you don't like the weather, stay for a couple of minutes. It'll probably change. Because it was cold. I needed a jacket this weekend. It was in the 60s. And this week it's going to be like 83, I think. So yes, our weather here is kind of wild. If it gets back up to 83 and the sun is out, then the snakes will be on the move. You probably are seeing more snakes in your area here in the United States. Or I don't know, maybe you're not, maybe you live in the city or something, but if you live out in the country, you're probably seeing some because it is time for them to move into their dens to brumate. So that is what they're out doing. They are trying to get away before it gets way too cold. Oh, okay, here's a fun one. We've had an armadillo lately. And at first it didn't really bother me. But now it is starting to dig up our entire yard. I'm serious, you walk out the door and you start to trip over these little holes that it's dug because it's looking for worms. And it has dug up our entire yard. Our whole yard is that way. And armadillos are blind and deaf, so the internet says they're really easy to trap. I'm not going to hurt it. I'm not going to hurt the animal. It's an innocent little wild animal. I don't want to hurt it. I just want to trap it and take it somewhere else into the woods where it can go happily dig up as much of that as it wants. I just need to stop digging up my yard because I am going to step in one of those holes and break my ankle or something. So I've been trying to trap it. Doug and I both have. I've used cat food, I've used hot dogs, I used worms because the internet said they love worms, they can smell them really well, and it has not gone into the trap. The internet said since they're blind, they'll just walk into the trap because they can't see it, but no, it has not. It has avoided my trap. And so I thought maybe if the dog has one run-in with it, he's not mean or anything, he just likes to chase things because he's a hound dog, he's a hunting dog. Maybe if the dog has one run-in with it, it'll spook it, and then it'll go away. Because again, I don't want to hurt it, and I know my dog won't hurt it, he'll just chase it. Maybe if he chases it out of the yard, then the armadillo will learn, and it won't come back. Because I need to stop digging up the yard. So, the armadillo was in the yard, and I let the dog out intentionally, and I was like, look at that, what's that thing? Go get it, go get it. And he started to chase it, and the armadillo turned around and stood up on its hind legs, and it made some kind of sound. Okay, I had no idea they could make noise. But it made some kind of sound, like a car starting, and it spooked Finn to death. Poor guy. He turned around and ran back into the house, like he hightailed it back into the house and went in his kennel and hid. So he's terrified of it now since it made that noise at him. They have teeth, but they're way far back in their mouth, I read. So they don't bite. And they hardly have rabies because their body temperature is so low. So I was thinking, well, the dog will just chase him off. But no, it spooked the poor guy. He was terrified of it after it made that sound at him. So now he doesn't even get close to it if it's in the yard when I let him out. He just minds his own business. So now what we are trying to do, based on more guidelines from the internet and friends on Facebook who work with animals and work at sanctuaries, is to wear a pair of gloves and get a big fishing net and just sneak up on it, since they're blind and deaf, and just throw the net over it and then pick it up and grab it. That's not working well either. We have tried and we've gotten very close to getting it, but it's still hard to do. Even though they are blind and deaf and you kind of walk right up on it, it's hard to time it right to swoop the net down over it and grab it. So that's what I've been doing at night. I've been outside trying to catch and wrangle this armadillo, and it's not going well. The dog is terrified of it because it made that car sound at him, and so now he won't go near it. He's such a big wimp, though. He is afraid of our neighbor's little chihuahua. So I don't know why I thought he would just chase it out of the yard once and it would never come back. We thought we got rid of it because, like, all last week, it hadn't showed up in the yard and there weren't any new holes. But I went outside last night around 8 p.m. and there it was, digging up the yard right in front of my door. And again, we tried to catch it, but it bested us. So yeah, we're outside trying to wrangle an armadillo, so that's fun. That's always something fun and exciting going on here, God knows. So yes, I'm trying to wrangle an armadillo. If you have any armadillo wrangling tips, that would be so good. I do not want to hurt the animal. I don't want to kill it. I know a lot of people online, when I googled what to do, were like, well, just shoot the armadillo. But I don't want to do that. It's just an innocent little animal. He's just looking for food in the wrong place. I just want him to go somewhere else to look for food. So if you have any tips on how to get him to go somewhere else to look for food, that would be great. The type of trap we are using, it doesn't hurt them. But if you have tips and you have wrangled an armadillo before, please tell me, because we're like at our wits' end, and the dog, he doesn't want to help. We cannot catch this thing. It is wily. So we are finished with our picture today, and I think it turned out really good. The glitter looks nice. I think the moon being glittery looks really good. And I think the eyeshadow and the moon on her forehead looks good too. I think she looks like Sailor Moon. Yeah. I think all the glitter kind of adds that, because Sailor Moon was like a magical girl, you know? I think this turned out really good. I'm happy with this one. So I'm going to put a tab on it. But I'm not going to close the book yet. Don't close the book right after you've done the Sparkle Pop pins, because the glitter will rub everywhere. That is something that I learned the hard way. I let it dry for about an hour, especially when I've used a lot of glitter like I did here with the moon. Let it dry for a while. Thank you so much for coming to this very interesting color and chat. We talked about some interesting things, I think, especially my armadillo story. But thank you all so much for coming, and hopefully I'll be able to record a lot more of these this month, since my classes have been way less. I hope you enjoyed this one,